Hey, Steve Magnante here at High-Octane Classics in Auburn, Massachusetts with a very special 1965 Mustang 2+2 GT350. Now, don't get the wrong idea. If you have $500,000, you can buy a real GT350 Shelby, the first year for the mighty Shelby dynasty in 1965. This is not one. This is a tribute, nicely done clone, if you will. The details are correct. The stripes, the Wimbledon white paint, or dishwater white, some people call it. I think it's a fantastic shade of just off-white, sort of dulled a little bit. Great-looking car with the blue racing stripes, of course, American racing colors, white and blue, as seen on all of the Shelby GT350s 1965. Now keep in mind, this is a 2+2. Why do they call it a 2+2? Well, this is the fastback body style, and Ford never referred to this as the fastback in 65. It was the 2+2 because there was 2 seats in the front and 2 seats in the back, means 2+2. Whereas the hardtops had a wider back seat, 2+3 technically, but 2+2 is way sexier. Now something about this has the 1965 specific Shelby striping here. For 66, Shelby simplified the package, and instead of painting the door and the rocker in 2 different stages, they had a different paint effect here where the rocker panel was no longer blue. 66, they had all the striping here above the cut line. So 65, this is correct and has the right look. It'll fool a lot of people, but it's, again, not an actual one of 561 built GT350, first year. So this one is nicely done, fiberglass hood, and we'll get to look at that. Of course, the hood pins on this are correct and accounted for, and as is the Mustang logo found in 1965. Mustangs right here, the horse in the corral, was deleted by Shelby. And this thing right here, that's basically a block-off plate. They're available in reproduction, but this is a missing thing. Now, if you don't have that, you can see the gap between the 2 panels, loud and clear. But a nice little effect right there. The attention to detail on this is very, very solid. Okay, let's pull the pins, and then we lift that hood. And there it is, fiberglass. Kind of cool, which is correct, Shelby used fiberglass. Although with that said, the skin was fiberglass, the underlayer was steel, which was very helpful in preventing the hood from distorting and warping, which would be the case in many cases. Challenger TA, AR Cooter would have fiberglass skins and it would warp, but this would not do that because this is steel, solid state steel, bonded to the fiberglass skin. Now under the hood we see all the correct stuff, small block Ford, probably a 302, perhaps something larger, but again, all the right stuff on it. Got the Shelby style aluminum intake manifold and an Edelbrock 4-barrel carburetor. Not everyone's brave enough to tackle a Holly, and clearly this one has the Edelbrock, which works just as well. In fact, you don't even see it under the air cleaner. But again, the VIN on this one says it was born a T-code. Okay, it was a 6-cylinder car. T-code right here. So it was born a 200 cube 6-banger. No harm done. And if you ask me, the 2+2 deserves a V8 to make it as fun as possible. Headers on this one, you can see them right there. Some billet aluminum pulleys, kind of a nice touch. Factory looking radiator, nice to see that. Heavy duty fan, keep it nice and cool on cruise night. So nicely rendered under the hood. Manual disc brakes up front and drums in the back. We'll get to that in a second. And so born a 6-cylinder, T-code, nothing wrong with updating it with the V8 engine. And let's go inside and see what we can find there. And as we make our way, this does have 15x7 American Racing torque thrust wheels, which pay tribute to the magnesium wheels used by the GT350R race cars, but these are aluminum. And again, they have the right look. Very much in keeping with the theme of the car. And again, the 2+2, as we open the door, we'll see this one is a rear seat. It does have a rear seat, but with that said, the GT350s had no back seat. This has the fold-down back right there, but again, with the seat folded up, there's room for 2 in the back, 2 in the front. Again, the 2+2 nomenclature. Now, the transmission is a manual, as were all of the GT350s in 1965, and this is a 5-speed, not something you could get in 1964, or 5, excuse me. And again, it's got an overdrive, probably a T5 from a 5-liter type Mustang. Nothing wrong with that. The nice thing about the overdrive is that you get to, stretch the car's legs up on the highway or something like that. And nicely done inside. No roll bar, which is fine with me. They kind of get in the way. And of course, the seat belts on this are interesting. These are the Shelby style lap belts right here with the eye hooks that go into the chassis right here. The anchor points right there are very much correct for a Shelby. And there it is right, these little guys right here, the anchor points. right there, kind of cool. And of course, getting in and out of this, you know, it takes a bit of gymnastics, but if you're young and spry like me, then you can jump right back there and enjoy the ride from the back seat. Now, this does have an AM radio, nothing wrong with that. The Shelby-style tack pod up on the dash, so all the correct details have been accounted for. And again, a real Shelby GT350, you know, $500,000 or more. This is probably a lot more affordable than that. But we can see on the front the disc brakes, and on the back, probably 10-inch drums right here. Of course, leaf springs in the back, and a very tidy presentation. So let's pop the trunk and see what we find in there. So anyway, fairly small trunk on these. The crazy thing is, on the Mustang convertible and on the sedan, the trunk is much larger. There's actually a larger trunk lid and plenty of room to put more luggage, etc. in there. But these are shorter right here. Not as much room to put things in. And again, that was the price you paid for that sleek fastback or 2+2 body style right there. Of course, the GT350 logos, these are available in reproduction, nicely seen on this one here. And dual exhaust, of course, out the back. Side pipes were possible on the GT350 from Shelby, but this does not have those because they're loud, they're obnoxious, but this is a folding dual exhaust system. And again, beautiful, I guess Brittany blue, I think that is, the color right there, Le Mans racing colors from United States racing teams on SCCA road race courses, etc. Pretty much a good-looking car. One thing too, it's interesting that the gas filler is right here behind the Ford Mustang logo. The cap does double duty as an emblem, and also is where you put the gas. And a nice touch here is this lanyard, this cable right here, so you don't forget it and drive off with it on top of the gas pump. A classic problem with earlier Mustangs, the 64.5, and I believe much of the 65s did not have the cable. I think that arrived in 66, but it's an add-on that people should do, and it's been done here. So there you have a really nicely rendered 1965 Mustang GT350 tribute, replica, clone, call it what you will, but it's not $500,000, which is the good news. This is a much more affordable package. Nice news on this is you either own your car or your car owns you. $500,000 GT350 is not something you want to drive every day in traffic. Something like this, not that you want to have an accident, but with that said, if it gets hit or something like that, it's absolutely fixable, no problem with that. It's a drivable car for sure. With the disc brakes up front, the overdrive, a nice bonus. To learn more about this car, go to the High-Octane Classics website and check out the photo gallery.